Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 88 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and celebrating myself. So, yay for day 88. What is that, 12 days to go? Yay! Okay. Excited to be done. Also have to play catch up on some of my videos. I apologize for being behind. Today, for day 88, I am celebrating being oblivious. Because I am very oblivious to things. You can ask any of my family, friends, whatever. I have one friend, used to be a school bus driver. She's my school bus driver friend, and she has really long hair, and she chopped off like an inch or two, and I didn't even notice. And she was like all day, and then she was like, "Did you notice that I cut my hair?" And I was like, "Nope, sorry. Let me look. Oh, I guess it's a little bit shorter. It's still long." Didn't notice at all. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so much shorter." And I'm like, yes, if you're the person that cuts your hair and you're used to combing it out and all of those things, you're very well aware that it's so much shorter. But when you take an inch off, when you have really long hair, very observant people notice. I don't always notice that. Oddly, I do have like a keen eye for detail occasionally. But I say occasionally because every once in a while I'm doing something and the little details, like if I'm working on a project or something I'm making, crocheting, cross-stitching, whatever, the little thing that I mess up just bugs the crap out of me, and my eyes always go right to that. Or if there's a painting on the wall or something and it's off kilter, it will bother me. And I've done those those find the differences pictures, and it's weird because my eyes always go to something that's different. It's like there is some, but I can't figure out what the difference is. It's one of those things where like my eye goes to this part of the picture. I'm like, something is not right about this, and I have no idea what it is. I just know there's something not right about it because I'm oblivious to the actual detail of whatever is different. So anyway, but I'm oftentimes oblivious about how other people are feeling. I'm off in my own little world. I don't notice things like that. Growing up, my biological mom would go road trips and do stuff, and she'd always like see everything to point it out when we're driving. And when I'm driving, I don't see all of those things. If I try to see all those things, I feel like I'm getting distracted and I'm not paying attention to the road. I can't do that. My eyes just don't pick up on all the little details of things, and I don't always pick up on the details of other people and their emotions, their feelings, whatever that's going on. But I will randomly, because I have my lovely little randomness in me, I will spot something that just kind of stands out of everything else, and I will be like, "Oh, that is so cool, that is so pretty," and then I get so happy because I found something and everybody else is looking at me like I'm crazy. Which is cool. I'm fine with that. I am crazy. If I haven't celebrated being crazy, I really should. I enjoy that, being crazy. Anyway, so oblivious. It's so weird. I'm thinking I'm being oblivious and I'm talking about all the little minute details of things that I see that I'm like, okay. But I pick out different things. I see things differently than other people do. And I'm oblivious to usually the obvious things. I really am. I'm the person that stuff goes over my head. I'm like, oh, don't get it. Just went over my head, whatever. Oblivious to the things that are going on around me. Sometimes I choose to be oblivious to things that are going on around me. I choose not to watch the news. I choose not to read all the posts on Facebook, all the negativity and things like that. I choose to just be in my own little world and be oblivious to all of those things because I don't want to know. And that's my choice. And in some cases, I think that's a really good choice. But, in some cases, I am oblivious to other people, to their pain, their struggles, their trials, because I'm really bad at keeping in touch with people, figuring out what's going on. And so that I feel bad, when I find out something happened to one of my siblings, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know there was a problem. I'm completely oblivious to the situation. I feel really bad. I do feel really bad. I don't want, because I do love my siblings and I do want to, be there for them, but it's hard because they're in another state and we don't see each other on a daily basis. We don't talk on a daily basis. And so then it's just kind of like something happens and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm suddenly aware of them. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes people have to point out the obvious things to me because I don't see the obvious things. I see the random things. I see the things that are, like I said, a picture that's crooked in a room will catch my attention, and something else that's going on in the conversation I'm completely oblivious to. Like, it doesn't even matter because my focus is somewhere else. My focus is always random place because I'm a very random person, which can be lots of fun, but I think it gets me in a lot of trouble too because I don't always pay attention to everything. I don't always pay attention to what I'm doing. Sometimes my automatic brain takes over and then I'm completely oblivious to what I just did or how I just got somewhere when I was driving. And I'm like, don't remember doing this. Oh yeah, I should probably pay attention again. Um, I think my brain just has some switch where it just turns off the details. It's like, it's too much information overload. We're just going to shut everything off. And I'm like, cool, I'm just going to keep going. Like, nothing's wrong. Everything's cool. Completely oblivious to what's going on around me. Sometimes it's a very awesome thing to be able to do that, to just be able to, I don't know how to switch it on and off. I will be honest, the whole oblivious thing. Sometimes I am far too aware and I think it's like sensory overload. So I think sometimes it's a self-preservation thing where my brain just turns things off. It's like, let's just turn this off because it's not important right now. Or my escape where I just start daydreaming and run away from everything, in which case I am usually oblivious to what else is going on, including conversations around me because my mind is somewhere else entirely, which sometimes is very helpful for me to escape the situation or the conversation. But sometimes it's also, although it seems helpful to me in the moment, it may be hurtful to other people because I'm not actually paying attention to what they're saying or the conversation. If I'm actually supposed to be participating in the conversation, it's very bad for me to be not paying attention. I think I have like not the best attention span. I get bored a little too easily. So I become oblivious. My brain just shuts off to certain things and it's like, okay. And some things, like I said, I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention to what's going on in the world. I have people that tell me all the time what's going on in the world, but of course it's always their opinion of things. And sometimes my opinion becomes like theirs because I don't know the other side of the story and I don't always look into the other side of the story or whatever it is. But sometimes I like just being that way because sometimes in the world it just feels like everybody has their opinion and everybody expects everyone else to agree with their opinion, and then everybody gets nasty towards each other because this group of people doesn't agree with this group of people and this opinion doesn't match this opinion, and then there's like this, this fighting and this negativity and all of those things, and I just don't like those things. Those things make me uncomfortable. Those things are triggers for me growing up in the environment that I grew up in, and so I just tune them out. I just shut it out. I just don't watch. I just don't pay attention, and then I get to be completely oblivious to everything around me, and I am much happier when I'm oblivious to things. I don't know that it's the wisest decision in the world, honestly, but it helps me to steer clear of the whole whatever stuff that's going on, and it's helpful to me sometimes to be oblivious. Sometimes, like I said, it gets me in trouble. It does get me in trouble because I don't notice things. I really don't notice, like, oh, someone cut their hair, someone's doing something different. And I'm like, I wasn't aware of how they did it before, so I'm not really aware that it's different. I'm sorry. Drastic changes like my hair where it was really long and then I just really chopped it is really obvious. And when that happens, other people do that, it's really obvious to me. But when my friend cuts an inch off of her already long hair, I don't notice. I don't. I'm like, sorry, I know, I see you every day at work and your hair's always up in a ponytail and I really don't pay attention as to where it falls on your backside. I'm not just, walking around staring at your backside. Oh, look, that's how long her hair is. Oh, look, now her hair's like an inch shorter. My brain doesn't think that way. I don't look for things like that. I don't focus on things like that. So I am oblivious when it comes to things like that. And when I am surrounded by too much going on, like my wedding day, oddly, my sister is still telling me, family is still telling me about things that I did that was horrible on my wedding day. And although I'm divorced and I am grateful to not be in that relationship anymore, I really enjoyed my wedding day. I had a fantastic day. It was one of the best days of my life. I was like the center of attention without being like having everybody stare at me all at once because people were just coming up and introducing themselves to me because they knew my then husband, the person I just married. or people that I knew had come into town and they were visiting me and they were all coming over and saying hi. So I was constantly surrounded by somebody saying hi, how you doing? And then I got to, dance and have some fun. And, it was great. And I was, trying to figure out how to do the whole new mom thing and trying to keep track of all the kids that were there and making sure that they were okay and whatever. And I don't think my ex cared, but whatever. But I mean, it was fun. It was nice. It was relaxing. It was awesome. But there were like a ton of people I didn't even know. I think they all came from my ex, but it was okay because they all came over and said hi to me. But it meant that I wasn't like paying attention to my siblings that came out of town to see me as well. And they had some kind of get together, and I did not go to that because it was not pre planned. It was a last minute thing, and I had other plans. So I did not change my plans to be there. It would have been nice. I actually kind of wanted to go, but my ex did not. So we did not because he's like, well, he didn't want to go, and I didn't want to push the issue. So I'm like, let's just go do our own thing. And if we'd planned it and it had been part of the day, I would have been like, okay, but we already agreed to this. We have to go. But this wasn't. This was like a last minute invitation, kind of like, hey, guess what? We're doing this thing if you want to come over. And it's like, but it was like the day of the wedding and it was just one more thing. And we're just kind of like, that's not really what we want to do. So we didn't do it. And it was okay. I was okay with that. But apparently I was oblivious to how much that hurt everybody else's feelings, which is the point of my bringing that up because I was. And then talking to my little sister years later, we were talking about it. And apparently I hurt my brother's feelings. And it took her a while to realize that I was just oblivious. Like, I didn't do it intentionally. I was just unaware of the fact that my brother wanted my attention and that I didn't go out of my way to go say hi and how you doing and thanks for coming and all of those things that I didn't realize he needed or wanted. So it wasn't intentionally hurting his feelings or hurting anyone else's feelings. I was just completely oblivious to what was going on. And apparently there was a whole bunch of drama surrounding my aunts and everything else. And I was completely oblivious to the entire thing. And to be perfectly honest, I was perfectly happy being completely oblivious. So I'm like, dude, it's my wedding day. I get to be happy. I get to be oblivious. I get to not care. Whatever, I don't know. But everybody else was all mad at me and there was all kinds of drama. So after it was all over, they all had to tell me, which is how my family works. They're like, oh my gosh, you did all of this and you did this. And it was like all these things that I did wrong. And to me, it was actually kind of nice because I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't have any control over any of those things. I can't go back, change, fix, whatever. And I was completely oblivious to the fact that any of that was going on, which I love that sometimes I'm completely oblivious to things that are going on because if I'd been aware of all of those things going on, it may have ruined my mood or my day or, and it was my day and it shouldn't have been ruined over things like that. And the dumb thing is it was petty things. It was just petty, stupid things. Like everybody had their opinion of what they were doing, who was in charge, who wasn't in charge. Like my mom shoemaker was trying to help to help clean up and do stuff. And my aunts that were in charge of doing everything wanted to take a break and just relax and not clean up until later. And so they were annoyed that my mom shoemaker was trying to clean up and she was kind of like, I'm just trying to be helpful. And they're like, because my family feels guilty, it's like, oh, you're cleaning and it's our job to be cleaning. So we feel bad that you're doing our job. And then we're annoyed that you're doing our job because we don't want to get up and do our job right now. We want to do it later, which would have been fine. It didn't really matter when it got done, but it was drama. And of course, my siblings came from out of state. And so they expected me to be there, to say hi, to spend time with them. And I'm like, there's 100 people here that all want my attention. I can't just give all of my attention to my family that came in from out of town. And interestingly enough, my friends that came in from out of town contacted me, and I actually went to dinner with one of my friends and his wife with my my ex before we got married. And then I went to lunch with one of my other friends that came into town, one of my roommates that we'd been roommates and friends, and I was maid of honor for her wedding, and she made my wedding cake and all of those things. And we went to lunch the day before or 2 days before or whatever. So we planned something that we could do so we could have the one-on-one time. And I didn't do that with my family. that came into town. I didn't think about it, and they didn't ask. So I guess they just expected it, and I was completely oblivious. So I know that's a really old example of my being completely oblivious. It's just the one that pops into my head. And not that I want to be bashing on my family. I love my family, but that is the environment that I grew up around. Everyone has their expectations, and I think that's true of life in general. Everyone has their expectations and what they want and what they're expecting other people to do or to be, and I'm usually oblivious to that. Sometimes I think I'm oblivious to my own expectations, and then I get disappointed over something, and I'm like, what the heck am I disappointed about? And I'm like, oh, apparently I had some subconscious expectation that didn't get met, so now I'm depressed or disappointed or whatever the case may be. Oh, I really should clip my hair up. It's bugging me. I'm sorry. I know everybody tells me it looks so cute framing my face, and when it's in my face, and it just drives me crazy. So, but anyway, the whole point is that I'm oblivious to things. Sometimes I'm oblivious to other people, and sometimes I really think it's a good thing to be oblivious to all of the drama, to all of the things that are going on in the world. And sometimes it's not, because sometimes it can actually be harmful to me to not be aware, or it can hurt other people's feelings to not be aware. So that's, but sometimes in my oblivion, I just randomly see things that just pop out to me, and I think, oh, that looks so cool. Oh, that's so cute. And I just focus on, I'm not going to say the wrong thing, but maybe not the thing that everyone would expect me to focus on. Or I just random like, hey, there's this. And it's like, yeah, like some conversation I was having probably when I was in junior high, and some guy, I knew someone in the neighborhood, someone in the ward, my sister's older brother, and it was the same name as this guy that my friend had a crush on. So we're having this conversation, and I was completely oblivious, not paying attention to who they were talking about, and then I thought they were talking about the person in the neighborhood. So I said something, and they're like looking at me like that makes absolutely no sense to the conversation. I'm like, oh, we're talking about the guy that my friend has a crush on. Oops. Obviously not the guy that she ended up married to or anything else like that, but we're in junior high, right? So I've been oblivious to things my entire life. I don't focus well. I don't pay attention well to things. So and my brain doesn't process things immediately. I swear it has like this delayed reaction. So I'm not aware of things until after the fact. And then of course my brain replays everything, trying to figure out what I should have said, what I should have done. And I'm trying to teach it not to do that anymore, which is good. But it does make me oblivious to a lot of things, because my brain just doesn't process things in the moment. It takes a minute. It has a little delayed reaction. So if people are patient with me and they wait, I will think about what's going on. I'll be like, oh yeah, I can have a response to that. But if they don't, then I just get lost in the conversation. And if I'm lost, then I just tune out and I focus on something else. And I'm, completely oblivious to the rest of the world and off in my own little la-la land. And so and sometimes sometimes it makes me feel uncomfortable. And I think that's why I go daydreaming or other things in my own little la-la land, because I don't like feeling uncomfortable, because I can't keep up with the situation. I'm overstimulated. It's going too quickly, whatever it is. Because apparently I function well on slow and steady, but I live in a world that's fast paced. The world is the rabbit and I'm the tortoise. The tortoise and the hare. The world feels like it's the hare, and everybody's running and racing and running and racing and running and racing, and then they're stopping and taking a break, and then running and racing and running and racing. I'm like, okay, when everybody else stops to take a break, I have half a chance to catch up to people. I might get there. But when they start running and racing again, I'm just like, I'm lost. I'm sorry. I just can't keep up. And I've beaten myself up a lot of times for that, and I'm trying not to anymore, because I am the tortoise, not the hare. I just am. And it oftentimes makes me oblivious to everything that's going on around me. And if I try to run, if I try to race, if I become the hare, I miss everything around me, because I'm going too fast and I just can't pay attention to everything. And that's usually when I trip and fall and stumble and everything falls apart, because I'm trying too hard to be like everybody else. So it works better for me to just be in my own little world, take my own little pace, and just pray that other people will be okay with me in my little world and my little pace, because and I need people to point things out to me, because I don't see it. I don't see the obvious. I don't see things the way the rest of the world sees things, the way other people see things. And I'm okay with people pointing it out to me. I'm okay with people saying, hey, Midge, guess what? This is what's going on. Hey, Midge, are you not aware of this? Hey, Midge, you might be hurting somebody's feelings, or so-and-so wants to talk to you or whatever. I'm like, cool, thank you. I was totally unaware of all of that. Like, seriously, totally unaware of all of that, because I'm just oblivious to things like that. So I need people to point that out to me, and I'm aware of that, and I'm okay with that. And honestly, sometimes I enjoy just being oblivious, because I miss a lot of the drama. I miss a lot of the hurt and the pain and the things that are going on. But again, it means that sometimes I miss or unintentionally hurt other people because I'm oblivious to the fact that they need me or wanted my attention or expected something of me that I was unaware of their expectation. So, hair. Anyway, so that's difficult for me to remember that, to try to be aware. So apologize to people if I've been completely oblivious, or if I've said or done something that's offended you, because I'm probably just completely oblivious to the fact that I did it. It's not intentional. Honestly, I don't go out of my way trying to think up ways to hurt people or to make them feel bad, or to, I just get caught up in my own little world. I get caught up in whatever's going on in my life, and I think other people do. And sometimes I just focus too much on that, and I'm not aware of what's going on. And sometimes I am a little bit aware, but it can be hard for me, especially when I'm dealing with my own stuff, to be there for people. And I'm trying to get to where I can be there more for other people. And I've been there for people in my life before, and I know that I will be again. So I'm okay with that too. But I am oblivious. I'm not going to catch all the stuff that's on the side of the road when I'm driving. It's just flying by, and I'm like, it's just a blur to me. When I go too fast in life, it's just a blur to me. And when I slow down and take my time, then everybody else is just a blur to me, because they just go on by way too fast. And I'm just like, oh, look at the pretty little flower on the side of the road. Oh, look at that cool little cloud up in the sky. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, sorry, were we talking about something else? I have no idea what everybody else is doing. So I'm entertaining myself, which I'm grateful I can do that. That's awesome for me. So if I'm oblivious to something, that's just who I am. That's just how I am. And honestly, I don't know that that's something that I will ever be able to change in my life. And sometimes I don't think that's something I want to change. Not that I want to unintentionally hurt people's feelings, because I am unaware of their expectations. But at the same time, that's just who I am. That's just how I'm built. My brain just does not function quickly. It does not respond quickly. It is just not... I can't do the information overload. I can't pay attention to everything all at once. It doesn't work for me. And that's okay for me. And I'm grateful to be okay with that. I'm grateful to be able to have fun with being oblivious to things. And I'm grateful that sometimes I can tune those things out. I think it's a nice protective thing that I have. Like I said, sometimes it gets me in trouble. But most of the time, I think it's okay. Because... I know some people are like, it's all about the details. And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes the details aren't as important as, just being there and being present. And sometimes all I can do is just be there. I'm not even sure I'm present, but sometimes I'm physically there. So not always aware of what's going on around me, and it's being oblivious. So maybe that's something I should work on changing. I kind of enjoy it. So I'm probably not going to. That may be one of those things that other people get annoyed about. For me, it's just fine to be annoying because I'm oblivious to things. But, I figure if they get to know me, they love me, they know that I'm oblivious to things, and they'll either choose to point them out to me, or they'll choose to just accept that, oh, yeah, Midge is off in her own little la-la land, and it's okay. That's just who she is, and we love her anyway. So that's the way I prefer to look at it. So I hope that's how everybody else does. And if not, that's okay too. So anyway, this is me and my really, really, really long ramblings. I didn't think this was going to be a long video. Oblivious to how long I ramble too. I ramble quite a lot. Oblivious to the time a lot of times too. That gets me in trouble as well. But that's what I have for being oblivious. So if you like these videos, if you can relate to these videos, you find them helpful in any way, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude. Find some fun, fabulous ways to celebrate yourself, and maybe do some writing.